to crypto and Bitcoin. Let's see here. This is my weekly chart. So the third wave, which was max momentum and close to max volume, nobody was talking about Bitcoin back here in March of 2024. It started catching a little bit of news. I think this is right around when iShares launched their ETF. But then we had this really long consolidation in 2024, and nobody talked about Bitcoin around then. And then we started getting the fifth wave breakout right here. And notice how we keep pushing higher on less and less volume, definitely less momentum on almost every measurement of momentum that you can find. And now we're seeing people who never talk about Bitcoin and crypto coming out of the woodwork saying, giving, crazy price targets by the end of the year. I think Tom Lee is saying like Ethereum at 15,000 by the end of the year is possible. And I don't know. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you see in fifth waves. Is everyone starts getting really crazy, throwing out really wild price targets. And it's happening from my perspective, on what's clearly a fifth wave, a push higher on less volume and less momentum in a very filled out five-wave pattern off the 2022 low. Now, could we move to 200 to 225? Of course we could. And we have a game plan for that. But the easy money has been made in Bitcoin on this bull cycle. It has been. If you were with us in 2022, 2023, and 2024, all we did was buy. We had a dip, we identified where the low was, and we bought around there. And it was easy money. We bought, I think the last dip we bought was in 2024, and then we started getting up, and this move right here in late 2024, that was the first time in Bitcoin's bull run that we could say, hey, we've got a full five-wave pattern off the low. It's time to get a little bit cautious. We got another drop. We bought in the 80,000 range, I think 88,000. And now we have another move higher, which means that we're getting an extended five-wave pattern. So the rest of this move is going to be traded. If you don't want to hear that, I'm sorry. This is how we do it. If you want to HODL Bitcoin, you can. We'll give you all the levels to do that. If you want to hold on to it because of some narrative, that's your prerogative. But just keep in mind that Bitcoin has a phenomenal history of topping on some of the most bullish news in its history, and also bottoming on some of the bearish news in its history. I did a report on this. I think the last report I went through tops and bottoms in Bitcoin going back like many, many years, and every single topped on very bullish news. And also every bottom was very bearish news. So if you're playing Bitcoin based off of news, good luck. But that's your prerogative. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what we've always done is we are going to trade this thing. We are now entering the phase where we're going to protect our gains aggressively, and we're going to see what each pullback gives us. And if the pullback looks enticing and the risk reward is there, we'll put that money back to work for the next swing higher. And when we get to our targets up here, if we get there, we're going to do the same thing. And if we get up here, let's say we get to 200, you're going to see people talking about Bitcoin a million. So just keep in mind, that's just how this thing works. So right now we're talking about Bitcoin 200. So, and we may get there. So this is what it would look like. Okay? So follow me right here. We'll kind of take this slowly right here in June of 2022. If you see, we have 1, 2, 1, 2. So back and forth, vertical move higher, volume expands, momentum expands. That's 3. This is 4. Okay? So we still need a swing higher and a consolidation and one more swing higher. We need at least one more swing higher. This is an incomplete five-wave move. It needs to go above this 123. And that's going to take us right into our target zone, which is like 124, 129, maybe even the 135. Now, what that's going to mean is that's going to mean that Bitcoin is going to be pushing continue to push higher into this really gnarly cycle cluster. Um, for those that are new to this, each one of these symbols represents a cycle. What matters is how the market trends into them. We tend to see reversals into these little symbols, right? And on rare occasions, they mark third wave breakdowns or breakouts. But usually, when they cluster, it's a meaningful moment. Here we are clustering again. So what matters to me is how are we trending into it? Not only are we trending higher into it, but we're trending into this 45-degree angle right here. We have this cluster of cycles, and we're doing it on less and less momentum on just every single time frame that I look at. So one more swing higher, we're probably going to cut 5% of our Bitcoin position, and we're going to wait to see what we get on the next drawdown. What has to happen if we're going to 200 is we need to see a drawdown that holds 105. Now, if 105 breaks, that's not great, but what that means is maybe we have something like this in play. It means I'm going to have to change the bull count, the most likely bull count, to fit what I want to have happen. It's never a good plan. Um, but what that means is that we could go as low as 93,200 and then 85,000, and it still be a setup for 200. Once we go below 85, it's game over. That means the bull cycle's over. We're entering a new bear cycle, and my targets will be around 70,000 to 40,000. And that would be a generational buying opportunity. That would be wherever that bear cycle ends. I believe you'll probably not see Bitcoin in those price levels possibly ever again. I know that's a very extreme thing to say, and so I could very much well be wrong, but based off my long-term counts, which I'll get into once we enter the bear cycle, right now I just want to kind of play this kind of step by step. So below 105, not good. Below 93, 85, game over. But if we get a three-wave pullback and hold within here, and start seeing some constructive bullish patterns, then we'd buy back in for the move to 200. So that's how we're going to play it. But let's say that this is some kind of a meaningful top. Let's say we get to 130 and we drop down to 85. That's 34% we have to leave on the table before we get confirmation. So we would rather take our gains and then see what the next correction brings us and potentially buy back at a break even or buy back lower if we get the signal. That's how we're going to play it. Okay? But just keep in mind, this is wave 5 of 5. I don't really, I don't care what people on the news are saying or what kind of narratives out there justifying us going right to 1 million, whatever. This is just, I don't know. This is my process. We've done pretty well with it, and this is how we're doing it. Moving on to Coinbase. I know people aren't going to want to hear this, but I think Coinbase has one more swing in it, and then that's it. The pattern is a very large leading diagonal. So from the 2022 low, I have this as wave 1. There's your 3 right there. There's A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's C for 3. Huge fourth wave. And then we have A, B, C. Now, if you look at the proportion of this first wave, I've done a lot of going back and forth on this. One could count this as 1 and this as 2. If that's the case, then this green count is a lot more likely to play out. But that doesn't really make sense in terms of what the rest of this pattern is. So this to me makes the most sense with the price data that we have. It's definitely some kind of an overlapping diagonal pattern. So that's 1, 2, A, B, C for 3, 4, A, B, and then we're in a 5-wave pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we do have enough waves in place. We're at the top of this trend line. We're getting like sell signals all over the place, like less momentum. The RSI is in the same amplitude that we see. We've seen all these other tops. The D-trend oscillators in the same spot that we saw the 2024 top, and right around when we saw the March 2024 top. So all of these are lining up for, okay, this could be it. If we go below 370, I think that would be it. So if we analyze this pattern a little bit more, I think that we have one more swing higher, and an ending diagonal. So let's just kind of, I mean, where are we at? Yeah, there we go. This is kind of what I'm looking at right here. Okay. So off this low right here in June, 1, 2, there's your vertical move for 3. There's wave 4 of 3, wave 5 of 3. There's your third wave. Here's your fourth wave. And then we're in an ending diagonal, overlapping mess. Just 1, 2. There's A, B, C for 3. There's your kind of clearly corrective 4. Maybe we have one more drop, but I really want to see us hold 370. Um, and then we get one more swing higher right into 4, maybe a double top at 445. Highest I see this move going is up to like 511. And what would we do here is we would move Coinbase to like 2% of our portfolio. So we would take meaningful gains. I know people get uncomfortable when they hear that, but this is crypto. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're sitting on, pretty sizable gains. I think collectively we're looking at about 165% gains right now.